Hey, my name's Cord. Welcome to my channel. This channel is about my story, my journey about supporting my family without having to work for someone else. Because I really found I don't enjoy that a whole lot, and it's more fun to do a bunch of different things. One of the businesses that I've started is woodworking. I've been building custom furniture for people, and with that, I decided I wanted to do a series on my channel where I show you how to do different things with wood, how to build different items. We're going to call the series Porter's Projects. On this episode of Porter's Projects, I'm going to show you how to make a photo frame. The photo frame is going to be a pretty simple one. Pretty much anybody can do it, and you don't need a lot of equipment, so sit back and relax. If you'd like the plans for this photo frame, go ahead and click the link in the description, enter your email, and I'll send you your free plans right on over. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, this is just to keep everything straight. I'm going to go ahead and mark the stock as to what part of the frame it's going to be. So these two I'm going to mark as top and bottom, and then these two I'm going to mark as the sides. So what I'm going to do next, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a 45 just on one end of the stock, and then I'm going to pull off of it to measure. That way I make sure that I'm not cutting off part of the length that I need. Hey, so what I did is I went ahead and I marked out the lengths of the appropriate sides on all of them, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut them now. Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're going to use the table saw. We're going to cut a rabbet back on all the pieces. We're going to go back 1/4 of an inch and then down 1/2 inch on that 3/4 inch stock, and that'll give you enough room for your glass and your picture as well as your backing to go in. Now, when you're setting your table saw to cut this, we're going to set it so that it's going to be that 1/4 inch back on the stock. So it's going to be a 1/4 inch back here. But you can't just use the gauge on the table saw, because if you do, then you're actually going to be taking out more than 1/4 of an inch. So you want to go ahead and get your tape measure, and you're going to bring that blade up where you can measure off of it. So you're going to want to set it to where it's 1/4 of an inch to the outside of the blade, not to the inside, because that's where the usual gauge measures to. So there's 1/4 of an inch. So go ahead and set it there. The other part you have to make sure you do is you're going to want to go ahead and set your blade height up to where it's 1/2 inch. You got to rotate that a little bit. Make sure that your cutting point is your highest. So there's 1/2 inch. Looks like. One thing to make sure of is that you're cutting on the inside of the frame. You don't want to cut the outside, otherwise it's screwed up. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set the table saw. You could do all this with a router, however I'm just going to use the table saw. Now you set the table saw so it's only going to go, the blade's only going to stick up that 1/4 of an inch, but then you're going to set the saw so you're cutting that 1/2 inch in, and I'll show you. Okay, so there's 1/4 of an inch, and then we want to set it where this is 1/2 inch to the outside of the blade. So now when you run the stock through, you're not going to run it on its broad side, you're going to stand on edge, and you're going to put this cut part up against the fence, so then the blade is going to be cutting right here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to cut a dado, and it's basically just a channel in your top and bottom pieces to your frame, and that's where, so we're going to basically cut a channel from here to here, okay? And this channel is where you're backing, the part that's going to hold your pictures and glass in, is going to sit. Your glass and your pictures are sitting up here, your channel's here, and then this piece is going to be to hold your backing. So we're going to set it all up just the same way that we've done on all the other cuts on the table saw. So in order to get the channel cut right where we want it, we're actually going to set the table saw. The table saw is going to be set to where it's 1/4 inch from the fence to the outside of the blade. Okay? So we'll go ahead and do that. So right now we're sitting at about 1/2 inch. And so then there's 3/8 and there's 1/4. We want the blade to be sticking up above the surface, above the deck, 3/8 of an inch. And the reason for that is because we've already cut from the inside edge in 1/4 of an inch on that dado. Then what we have to do is set it another 1/8 of an inch to cut into this space here. Alright, so now that we got it all cut, what we're going to do is actually fasten the pieces together to finish the picture frame. And we're going to do that with these little connectors. I don't know if you can see that. Little joint fasteners. Basically all you do is just hammer them into the wood at your joints. I'll do one to show you. So that's what it's supposed to look like. I want to put another one in, make sure it doesn't rock out. That's pretty much it. You can do it to all the sides. I'll go ahead and do that. Hey, so if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click the like button. And if you don't want to miss out on future episodes from Porter's Projects, then go ahead and click the circle up in the corner to subscribe. If you want to see the last video that I posted, go ahead and click right here, and you can watch it there. But hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh.